Hello, future viewers. Once again, this is Regdrin.
And this is apparently Stone of Triumph.
I don't know when you decided to make that name for yourself.
It's been my Steam name for a while.
Okay, well.
I just wanted people who I played Left 4 Dead with to know what they were getting.
Okay, fair enough. Well, now we are playing as the Alliance, and we're fighting against the Rebels, which may give Star Wars fans a headache. Anyway, please describe the Alliance for us.
Bugs together strong.
Hooray! The Spideri Alliance is a vast conglomerate of disparate insectoid alien species bounding together under the uniting motto of 6 legs good, 2 legs bad. The only thing this untidy and awkward collection of species agree on is the elimination of all bipedal species from the galaxy, and it's a mission they undertake with passionate enthusiasm. Aside from the Animal Farm reference, this is a little bit less funny than the others, but don't worry, we're gonna get our fun back with the Empire.
Yep. So, the Bugs' overall bonus is to armor.
Yes. They have one particular ship type which is known for being fairly tough if you're gonna put anything other than armor on it. And that will be, as soon as I find it, because there are a few things, this Shark Cruiser. An armor boost and a hull boost.
Yes.
And since that seems like the perfect kind of cruiser for frontline combat, I gave that the pulse guns.
Perfect.
Yes, 4 of them plus the guidance scrambler beam seem to be a fairly good loadout for these guys.
Yeah, apart from their more spindly ship, their cruisers tend to be low on weapon slots but high on modules.
Yes. And because of the hull boost, I'm also putting reinforced components where I can. And, of course, plenty of armor. Now, in comparison to their cruisers, their fighters are even more minimal than standard fighters are. Let's take a look. Behold these 3 modules.
Note the narrow firing arc.
Yeah, you have to work a little bit harder with Alliance fighters than you do with most. None of the fighters have 2 weapon slots, which means I can't use that fun double rocket design.
Correct.
But still, I did what I could because you can't be completely without fighters in many scenarios.
More's the pity.
Well, it's... there are mixed feelings on that one. And as for the frigates are actually pretty intimidating
That's
when I find them. This one, it looks a little similar. This one, for example, can fit 5 weapons on it, which usually frigates have to resort to 4, or even 3.
Yes.
In fact, Alliance frigates are very high damage per second, and they don't die easily because you can put armor on them instead of shields, because frigate shields are not amazing in the first place.
Yes.
Let's take a look at one of the things that I did.
Okay. Bug frigate.
Yes, I have a couple. Let's try the plasma one. So, we got all 5 of them here. We've got not a huge amount of armor. This frigate is not made to take a whole lot of damage. Well, no frigates are. But it can get to a good place to shoot. And even though its cost is higher than my previous plasma artillery, that had 3 guns and this one has 5, so it's actually better cost per plasma. And so I have a pulse frigate, and speaking of ships with a lot of modules, let's take a look at my missile cruiser. So I put some missiles on this one.
You used one of these, did you?
I sure did. I had to do a little pushing around to make sure this whole thing worked, but yeah, it's got 9 fast missile launchers on it.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. So, and of course, finally, I have a beam cruiser. which does not have that many beams, unfortunately. It does have good armor, though.
Well, that's understood.
Yes, but this is above average for even most Alliance ships. 24 is getting up there.
Mm-hmm.
It has a carrier bay because this one is going to survive. And while its attack power is not amazing, it will pull the armor off of anything that gets its shield zapped by my pulsars.
Okay.
It's also going to be accompanied by my beam frigates. Now, I could technically create a frigate with more beam lasers, but it wouldn't work so well, because 4 is already a large drain on power reserves.
Right.
This ship can deal lots of damage as long as it isn't bothered by trivial details such as enemies that shoot back.
The armor's fine as long as you weren't shot at.
Exactly. So, that was a lot of talking, but don't worry, we're going to get to the fighting shortly. This map does not have any spatial anomalies at all. It is, however, a larger map than usual, with a high credit limit, but not a comparatively high pilot available number. Like, our earlier, smaller maps had 50 or 60. This one is twice as large, and pilots are only 70.
Right.
So I have to be careful with how I do things. I have, of course, saved orders for all of these ships to cut back on the planning time. Well, we're going to want plenty of these. Especially with Alliance armor, we're going to rely pretty heavily on our pulse cruisers.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we'll be without backup. We're
Correct.
going to have missile cruisers, of course. We're going to have beam cruisers.
So you're just shoving all of them on that side.
Yeah, well, I'm going to move them up a little bit. What I want to do is leave this upper right group
To its own devices.
to its own devices, yes. And we are going to bring, let's say, 2 sets of fighter versus fighter ships. We'll attach them to the beam cruisers and give them a wide berth for escort, and that should hopefully work out for their job.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, this should cover most of the fleet, I think.
Okay.
And aside from that, we are of course going to make use of those frigates that we made.
Yeah.
So we're going to have plenty of plasma, because there's lots to like about plasma.
Mm-hmm.
And some, let's say, some beam frigates as well.
Okay.
I'm going to try having them escort the beam cruisers because... by the way, I'm using Alliance-specific beam lasers for these guys.
Okay.
The main difference is that they have less power but better target tracking, which is kind of a problem for beam lasers normally, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes.
Okay.
Give him escort orders. And once again, a little bit of leeway since frigate beam lasers are not the highest range types.
Okay.
And if it turns out that my damage per second isn't good enough for the amount of outnumbered I am here... Actually, you know what? Maybe I should add a little bit more. I'm not...
Go for it.
I don't need to get quite this amount of arm. Let's add some rocket fighters.
Okay.
And let's say a couple more beam frigates too. Yes, I am wagering a lot on our frigates this time, and we've seen what can go wrong with them.
That'll be fine.
Oh, no, not that one. That one.
Okay. So, let's see what happens.
Yes, let's do our best. Now, the reason that I put the beam frigates so up front despite their speed is that when experimenting, I found that they tended to lag behind just a little bit. Well, let's speed up. This is a large map, and it takes a while for the two sides to meet each other. And by that, I do not count the initial strike of fighters here.
Oh, they don't count.
Oh, actually, I made a mistake. But hopefully it won't be too bad. The thing is, I forgot to give my fighters cautious orders to take advantage of my fighter bays. Hopefully that won't be a big deal.
Oh yeah, Rebels actually have decent fighters.
Yeah, they do. Speedy fighters are good fighters. In fact, I'd say that unless I come across a faction with an even higher speed bonus, Rebels probably have the best fighters.
Okay, and here comes the plasma that doesn't hit a damn thing.
Well, yeah, that's because it's shooting at enemy fighters. I mean, they have trouble hitting cruisers sometimes, so you probably have an idea of how things will go. Oh, it's hitting that... Oh man, that's a slow frigate, isn't it? You don't want terribly slow frigates if they're going to be out up front. Artillery frigates are a little bit different, though. And now the plasma is hitting stuff. Oh boy, is it hitting stuff.
You bet it is.
On the south side, looks like I'm getting EMP'd, so I can't drop their shields quite as fast as I'd like, but don't worry, it'll happen. I've got some plasma on this side too, and here comes the missiles. It looks like it's not quite close enough to reach the enemy front line yet, but it will, don't you worry. And our beamers are starting to hit their cruisers as well, and that's getting ugly too.
Well, we lost a beam frigate.
Yeah, it looks like they have some orders to target our frigates at least. And anyways, I have plenty of them, so I'm not worried about losing one or two early on. There goes a cruiser. Looks like these two cruisers are going to go as well. And fast missiles, they are good. Looks like they have not too much trouble hitting frigates either, which is actually kind of good news for us. Man, this is a melee.
Hey, you're the one who built pulse cruisers.
Yeah, but things tend to turn into a melee anyway, so I figure I might as well be good at it. Kaboom. So it looks like this combination is actually working pretty well. Most of my frontliners haven't even lost shields yet. Yeah, I'm actually kind of happy with how the frigates are working out. I've had some trouble dealing damage, and it looks like we have a frigate versus frigate battle up here.
Not for long, we don't.
Nope, because the fast missiles have decided to... Oh wow, it's over already.
Well, how about that?
Before you know it, you'll be collecting your 6 ceremonial platinum leg bands. I would love that. That's a lot of honor.
Yep.
As usual, the Pulse Cruiser is my most effective design. I think there might have been a typo and they intended to give it 10 damage instead of 20. Oh well. I have no objection to using broken weapon designs. Well, I guess we can take a look at a few extra statistics. Since the dogfighters didn't have too much to shoot at this time, they were, of course, not terribly cost-effective. But let's take a special look at our frigates, since we've often had trouble making those useful.
Yeah, they did fine.
Yes, actually. The plasma frigates missed a lot less than I thought they would.
Frigate plasma has a better tracking speed.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I've used them. But I've had accuracy problems with them before. You'd think that against the rebels, they'd have a little bit more trouble hitting. And, of course, my beam frigates do bounce off shields a fair bit.
Yep.
I would have liked to see some raw numbers on how much damage they dealt, but that's okay. Now for expert. Let's move a little more to the side for this one.
Ooh.
I don't actually know if this is going to be enough stuff to wreck the entire enemy loadout. We'll have to see. And we might have to make adjustments as well.
Well, I think you got this.
If you're sure about that.
I am not.
I like some of these
Names.
My proboscis sucks. That sounds like a science dad joke right there.
Okay.
Also, let's make sure that I've removed... No, wait.
That was meant to attack fighters.
Yes, it was. I thought I was selecting my rocket fighters there, but that's clearly not the case.
Yes.
Alright. This has the correct set of orders.
Okay.
So what will be the problem? Will I need to add another pulse cruiser right above the formation?
Well, we don't even know what they have.
Yeah, that's true. Let's take a look. So we got roughly the same number of cruisers that I have total right here. And moving up, it's a pretty solid line, actually. Actually, there's a whole bunch of frigates up here as well. And some fighters on escort. The ones up top seem kind of slow. Alright, so their fighters, well, their early fighter wave has moved in and the usual thing is happening. Maybe I should have tried to fit a couple of anti-fighter weapons on at least one of my frigates.
Don't worry about it.
Fine.
What I do see is a lot of rebel missile cruisers.
Oh, you sure those are their missile cruiser designs?
Yep.
Oh yeah, we can actually zoom in and see their modules. So we can see a bunch of beam lasers here,
Yep.
and a couple of missile launchers as well. Dang, I actually forgot about that. But yep, there's the missile launchers right there. Dang, that's actually pretty useful for figuring out what the enemies are using when adjusting design. The good news is that all of my frontliners have guidance scramblers, so there's that. But I think they might get overwhelmed with this number of missiles. Oh geez, was this also several cruisers stacked?
No, it was just the one guy. He just showed up late.
Yeah, this is still way too close to call here. Oh wait, now it's not too close to call.
Yeah, they just have a lot of stuff.
It looked like it was going okay for a little while, but now we're outnumbered 2-1 and we don't have our full formation going. Are you sure you want to abandon all hope of an unlikely last-minute heroic victory? Yes. Alright. So I think a fifth cruiser up here might help, and also more missiles, and we'll see if that's enough to pull through.
Okay. Let's roll it.
Yeah, let's roll it.
Okay, we're speeding it up once again because, well, we already know what they have.
Yeah, I should have sped up the previous one, I just kind of forgot.
They got lots.
So if I was going to shave off some cost, maybe Since our fighter defenses are pretty good, maybe removing the rocket fighters from my lineup would be prudent.
Yeah. I didn't really see them contributing that much.
I think there are a few things that make frigate plasma better than the cruiser version. For one thing, frigates tend to have fewer weapons that can breach cruiser defenses, which makes the plasma more valuable. Like, frigate missiles are actually not so great at blasting through cruiser shields. Alright, I'm gonna turn down the speed just a little bit.
Yeah, just to see what happens.
Kinda, yeah. Actually, I noticed that my frontliners are getting EMP'd a lot. I wonder if maybe putting EMP shields on them would be a good move. Although that means I'd have to take something else off.
Yep.
Alright, looks like my beam lasers are starting to reach the front. Alright, at least we didn't take the first cruiser loss this time.
Yeah, but you're still taking a lot of hits.
Well, yeah. I don't think that can really be helped with this particular setup. I think the numbers are starting to turn our way a bit faster. In fact, we're going to just beat them in total health pretty soon. Which is not something that happened last time.
Oh, right, you are.
Ooh, yeah, actually we're knocking them out a lot faster this time. I guess there was some sort of critical mass that we hit there.
And that's everything down there.
Yeah, we didn't clean that up nearly as fast last time.
I don't think you managed to clean it up at all.
Okay, so they had more, so we just needed more as well. Oh,
Yeah.
It looks like our rocket fires are actually getting in there, kinda. You can see that with the shield -9.
Mm-hmm.
I guess up on the northern half, their fire defenses are not so great.
Yeah, there's no tractor beams or anything.
Yeah, although I still think that removing the rocket fighters would not affect the outcome too much. Oh, there's a tractor beam. Never mind. But once the missiles start heading up there, there's not much the enemy can do. And it looks like we still got most of our frigates left, so once those close in...
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All we need to do is make it official.
Yes. I love what they did with frigates in this game. Like, they are actually the best DPS for cost. You just have to go through special means to keep them alive long enough to do that.
And
Clap your antenna! Victory is ours! Award yourself another decorative insignia on your thorax! I'd love to do that. Considerably less honor this time, but we have a couple of ideas for bringing it up.
But hey, we did it!
I wonder if I could get away with only one dogfighter squad as well.
Yeah, because they don't have many fighters in this map.
Yeah, maybe do that and switch maybe one cruiser gun for anti-fighter guns, and that would do it. Or frigate gun, whatever.
Well.
So, that was much better.
Yes.
And I'm not going to show the very suggestive side make. That's just one of the things you do in the game.
And since missiles did play a very large part in the strategy of both sides, we should perhaps have a word from our sponsor.
Yes. As mentioned before, we have a word from Rocket Science Incorporated, or Limited or something. Because it really is rocket science. So, Frigate Missile Launcher, take it away.
Frigate weapons are often short-range next to their cruiser counterparts, but with missile launchers you can extend that range, assuming you can wait patiently for them to hit. Missiles!
Go ahead.
Missiles! When you need to get them before they get you.
Exactly. And we have a bonus statement for the cruiser standard missile launcher.
Oh, you want me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Missiles have substantial targeting advantages over mirror energy weapons, and as long as your target doesn't outrun, zap, or scramble your missiles, they are dead meat.
And therein lies the problem with missiles. There's a whole bunch of different countermeasures. Although those countermeasures tend to die down in effectiveness when you stack a whole bunch of missile launchers, as we observed.
Yeah, the maintainer of Atomic Rocket games actually called the interplay between various space weapons as Flashlight, Rock, and Dog.
Yep. And a side product, although less popular, they still want me to advertise it anyway. Missiles have the range, but rockets have the advantage of the speed and sudden panic they induce in their victims. Panic your enemies today with this excellent rocket launcher. Note, may not panic organisms without a fear reflex system. Rockets. We don't use them. Or at least, I tried, they're still kinda bad. Because they still can be shot down by defense lasers, they have no decoys, and they have trouble hitting, which missiles have, they're guided. They have less of a problem.
Correct. So, is that it?
Yes, I believe that's it for our commercial break. We'll return next time with more gratuitous space battles. Trust me, there's always more.
See you then.